Good evening from yammybtv. Wishing you all well today. Sending loads of love as usual. Coming up tonight is a bedtime story. Now, I haven't done it for quite some time. I've had private messages and requests to please Uncle Yammy, can you give us a nighttime row or a nighttime tale of some kind to go to bed with? Whatever tickles your fancy, I say. But tonight I've been thinking, and there's a few been popping up lately in my head, and we've talked about it in other videos, and we know that play fighting can lead to friends or serious extreme violence happening and men falling out with each other just from a simple mess about. We know that testosterone in there is very, very high. No one likes to look like they've been belittled. You know, when you're having a wrestle with someone and everyone's watching and it looks like he's getting the better. No man could ever tell me that he hasn't felt that presence before. Those who get involved in that kind of thing, I mean, you know, when you're having a go and it's only a mess about and it looks like that you're getting the losing hand and you're thinking, oh my man, you're thinking what others are thinking again. That means that he might be stronger than you. We know that play fighting and real fighting is two different things, right? Surprisingly, a name that doesn't get called a lot on podcasts, which I'm very, very surprised about, because he is a living legend, right? Known for his toughness, known for having a row, and known for standing for the cause. And having been on the six-man unlock everywhere he's been, in the Cat A's, B's, wherever. Charlie, who spent most of his life in prison. Charlie Lawson from East London, got a brother called Russian, right? Those up until, all right, say up until 2000. I'd like any of you to remind me of a time where you saw him have a fight. Those that have done time, remind me of a time when he lost a one-on-one in a straightener, because he was one tough man, right? So anyway, monologue, Yammy B. 2003, 2004, 2005, Whitemore, on the freeze, outside Dave Aditoro's cell. Gary Shearer was about 3 doors away. I think Bosie from Birmingham was across there. I think Siu might have been there. I can't remember. Chunky from Birmingham was there as well. Who else was there? Dewey from Manchester, Lucky was there from Manchester. Everybody was there around about that time, like we've gone through many times before. The great Porky, Carl Dennis, soon to be on here, coming on the show, believe it or not. He's got a few things happening at the moment, but he'll be making a guest appearance soon, Porky. And you won't want to miss that, right? So, take it back. 2003, 2004, 2005. There's another geezer called Daniel White, right? Now, it's meant to be co-defendants with an old friend of mine, Jason James. We used to call him Little Irie from West London. I grew up with him, good friend of mine, someone I respected. Someone who's fair to say goes down in the gangland game as somebody who did that, who lived that life and wasn't a joker, if you want to put it bluntly. You know, if we're talking about stories, that has a powerful story to tell. Trust me. Those that met him, you know, mixed opinions on all kind of people along the way. Anyone can ever say, but the majority of people liked him, respected him, and for what it was worth, when he was outside on the streets, he was one of the most feared men that ever walked the streets of London in general. That's my opinion. That's not just my opinion. That's the opinion of a lot of other people. But that geezer, Daniel White, apparently sold him down the river and got him lifed off. And on top of that, was meant to be a real dodge pot, really done some terrible things to people in prison as well. I won't go too into it. That's not what we're here tonight. But he was there, right? And we're all on the landing. And I decide that I'm going to have a play about with Charlie Lawson. So we're out on the landing and I'm throwing a right and giving him one in the stomach. He's saying, Yammy, listen, leave it. Don't mess about. I said, come on, Charlie, man. I've heard a lot about, you know, like I'm playing with Charlie because Charlie can be a bit of a, he's a bit of a, not being horrible or nothing. He's very intelligent educationally, Charlie, but he has got a funny kind of temperament, if you get what I mean. You either love him or you hate him, but I liked him, you know what I mean? because I knew him, and I knew him from the young days, and I know about Charlie, right? I'm surprised many of you haven't brought up his name. It's fair to say there's going to be a few of you tonight that are going to say to me, Yammy, I remember Charlie, and he could have it. So anyway, I'm playing around, and he's gone, all right then, come on in. So I've gone to throw. I'm not as good as him at boxing, right? Probably could have a little wrestle with him. That's about it. But with the straightener, I'm not fancying it with him like that. I know that I can't beat him in a straightener, that, to be honest, right? So I've gone to throw 1, 2, hasn't worked out. He's stuck out a right, and it's gone bang in my lip, and my lip started bleeding. So everybody's looking at me on the landing, and Dave Aditoro looked at me and he said to me, Yammy, that's why I don't like play fighting. So I said, I went, so I wiped my mouth. So I fixed on my most serious face, and I looked at Charlie. I said, I said, you see what you've done to me, Charlie? Listen, you were the one that wanted it. You were the one that wanted to play fight. You were the one that threw the first punches. I said, yeah. I said, listen, I ain't letting no man draw my blood, you know. Charlie said, what are you saying then? What are you saying then? I goes, all right then. What, anything's anything, Charlie? He goes, anything goes, Yammy, if it's that. I said, all right, come and go. Me and you in the cell, one-on-one, right? So he's gone through the door first. He's gone to the back wall, right, in the cell, right? Charlie thinking, because he's a straightener man, thinking it's going to be a fair fight, blah, 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 blah. Coming in through the doorway is Daniel White, and I forgot the other geezer's name, but he was on the landing at the time. So like they're pushing up the door basically, and I'm there and I've gone like that. So I'm looking at Charlie and I've got my most serious face on, and I'm looking at him. I'm going, what? So I've got my hands in my pockets. I'm saying, Charlie, so whatever it is, yeah? He said, yeah, bring anything you want, Yammy. If that's how far you want to take it, you come and take it, right? So I went like that. I said, all right then. I said, okay then, Charlie. And I reached into my pocket, went to pulled out something in my hand, and I went like that to lace him with it. And Charlie went like this. He curled up, but the truth was, I never had nothing in my hand. So I went, and I was only joking, Charlie. Don't be silly, it's not like that, blah, blah, blah. But everybody started laughing because everybody was looking through the spiral and all that. So we come out onto the landing and I was still laughing kind of thing, even though it's me that's got the busted lip, right? So Charlie's not finding it funny. Right, so I said, Charlie, don't worry about him, man. It's nothing. Because Charlie's one of them, when he's getting something in his head, he follows you everywhere and starts carrying on, right? So I wanted to get away because obviously he knew the laughter was at him for like going down under, really. Because really, if I had a weapon in my hand and he did that, he would be in serious trouble, wouldn't he? Really, but sometimes it's human reaction, and plus he knows I've got history with weapons, so he's probably in his mind he's thinking he's half-hearted. One, he might like me. Two, he's thinking, well, I want a straightener really, but I don't want no weapons because he's on his 2-strike or whatever. It could be many things, but I'm saying that in a one-on-one battle, I'd expect Charlie Lawson to beat me physically, if you get what I mean. So he's following me back to the landing, for about 5 minutes. I'm saying, Charlie, look, I'll make it up to you. I'll get something and I'll bring you in and then we'll think. He goes, Yammy, if you want to come back in the cell and we do it all over again. I said, no. I said, Charlie, I don't want to do it all over again. I said, it ain't that. We just play fighting, blah, 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 blah. We started out and he goes, oh, all right, Yammy, you're like, cool. So that was that one. I just thought I'd give you a light-hearted one before. But it just shows you the baddest man. On certain days, you know, you can't be ready all the time. And if ever you're going to call anyone into your cell, not that I want any of you to ever go to jail, but if you ever call it on, you know, like for someone to do that, no, and everybody laughing, we know that it's a joke. But what if it's serious? So unless you're being serious and you're going to go in there and you're going to expect to die or you're going to expect to do something really serious, the idea is not to go in there at all. That would be my recommendation if you're a youngster and you was going in there, because anything can happen between two walls when there's no officers about. Do you get me? I might come back up with a reading tonight, a spiritual reading, but wishing you all well and sending